Do you know that there is a subtle difference between these two words, a chartist and a technician? Well, technician is from the point of view of a person who practices the subject of technical analysis, right? But there is a difference. Prima facie, you might feel that, okay, you're just looking at charts and you're taking trading decisions and you're trading, right? But no, this is where the difference lies. And it's important that we understand this difference, because in the future, not only just the future, the present where we are, it is going to be useful to understand, and in the future, you might implement it. So come on, let's understand this difference. So starting off with the word a chartist. The word chartist has chart in it, and the subject is technical analysis. The tool is essentially a chart. The person who has understood the subject of technical analysis, by looking at a chart, he is trying to understand what's going through the demand and supply and trying to figure out and analyze whether it's a buy, sell, etc. Now this chart, which started on a piece of paper, a graph paper hundreds of years back, is now on a computer or a tab or a phone today, right now in front of us. And so if you tell me, let's analyze Tesla or an Apple or an Nvidia or a Reliance or a Tata Steel or a Nifty, what do we do first? We pull out the chart. We take a look at the chart, and what do we do next? Whatever we have learned, the subject of technical analysis, from our bookish knowledge and then from our experiential knowledge, we implement it, we practice it. And then we try to figure out what's happening in the chart and what one should do. We try to figure out the trend, the momentum, etc., etc. And then we try to come to a conclusion whether it's a good buy or not. And when we are doing this, there is a human element. I'm using my eyes, I'm looking at it. I have a feeling towards it. I personally, I'm looking at charts for the last 20 years. So in these 20 years, a huge amount of data has got collected. Whenever I pull out a chart, right, many a times I've kind of jumped on my seat that I've seen a certain pattern which I've seen in my past multiple times, and those patterns give you a blowout move. And so it has got recorded in my consciousness, in my subconsciousness, and it's there. I've kind of accumulated it. So there is this human element from a chartist's point of view, right? After that, let's say I see a chart, I see it's worthwhile taking a bet. And after that, I can open up my broking terminal, I can place my orders. 20 years back, I used to call a person. Nowadays, I can, do it yourself. That's technical trading, being a chartist. Now, there's also possibility of technical trading not being a chartist, but by being a technician. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is completely eliminating the visual aspect of looking at a chart. You don't even have to look at a chart. Let me try and explain this to you. It's been 20 years. I've been in this field. If you ask me right now, what do I look out on a particular chart or charts which makes me decide upon a trade tomorrow? I have a rule. I look at a weekly chart. I look for something in the weekly chart. Checked. Then I come down to the daily chart. I look for something in the daily chart. Checked. And when most of the parameters are checked and matched, it's a trade for me. Does my chart tell me the point of entry? Yes. Does my chart tell me the point of stop loss? Yes. Does my chart tell me how to trail the stop loss? Again a yes. And yes, if it goes really well in my favor, how can I trail aggressively? I know it from my charts. Today, I know each and every element or each and every step of my analysis which will lead me to a trade. And then once I am on a trade, every step of that trade being in my favor or not being in my favor. This I've figured out over years of practice and experience. Can I put the whole thing in few lines and convert it into a formula like a maths? The answer is yes. And if that can be done, can it be transferred to a code? The answer is yes. And I think you know where I'm going. If I can transfer this into a code, can I build a quantitative system or a nice simple word is an algorithm out of it? The answer is yes, which essentially becomes an algo trader. That's a technician. He's just using the numbers that matches. A chartist looks at the same thing, but from a visual perspective. It's like you're looking at the universe, and then a mathematician is looking at the universe, but he sees numbers. He sees numbers everywhere. Coming back to the reality of the technician. A technician essentially is a quant guy who does not want to look at the chart or does not decide not to look at the chart. I don't want any human element to it. Does it come with some pros and cons? Of course it comes with some pros and cons. But he gets the job done in terms of maths. So this is where today, as I make these playlists and video for you, a large part of our Indian equity market trades, especially when it comes to the index futures and options, are traded using machines or algorithms. They are of various types: directional trading, non-directional trading, arbitrage, etc., etc. And so if tomorrow, when you have practiced enough, let's say being a chartist, you decide that the time has come, I want to let go of my charts and move on to a completely quantitative path, then the day will come when you become a technician. Just like everything under the sun comes with a price. There's a pro as well as cons, there's a strength as well as weakness. You need to understand them and then take a decision. You ask me, today I'm still very much a chartist. I am a bit of a quasi-technician. I do not completely rely on the quants part to decide my trades. I can't let go of my 20 years of human experience of looking at a chart. And if you've traded long enough or looked at charts long enough, you will know and you agree with me that if you don't look at charts a day, you feel a little incomplete, especially if it's a market day. If it's a weekend, it's a different story. But on a market day, if you don't look at the charts after 20 years or even after 10 years, you tend to feel a little bit incomplete in that particular day. That was the difference which I wanted to share with you, the difference between a chartist and a technician. Do let me know what are your thoughts about it and where do you stand today and which way are you heading. Till then, take care of yourselves and trade well.